What's up everyone, it's Vivi and welcome back to the channel. So for a very long time, I've been thinking of a game or perhaps even a potential series which I wish would happen in the future. Now I hope you guys enjoy the concept, so here goes. What if Sony combined 3 IPs to bring us a fully fledged crossover? The IPs I'm referring to are Jak and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and Ratchet Clank. But we already have PlayStation Move Heroes. That game was for the Move. I've never played the game nor have I ever owned the Move system. But just by looking at this game, the story looks pretty weak and pretty absent. We don't even know whether this game is canon or not. I'll actually discuss this eventually. So PlayStation Move Heroes guys, put that aside. What I'm talking about is an actual heavy driven story. One which could be treated like MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe, where the future of the series involves some crossovers. Call it SGU, Sony Games Universe. And what I'm thinking about is the possibility of an actual collab between Insomniac Games, Sanzaru, and Naughty Dog. Okay, for this video let's just go with Ready at Dawn, just for an example, okay? Now about Insomniac Games, they're not interested when it comes to like developing Jak and Daxter 4, but what about a crossover? Do you think they would say no to that? I mean, Ratchet and Clank would be involved in the game, a series which has been developed by them for years, and which they're passionate about. Anyways, the whole point is I imagine 3 developers working on the game. PS Move Heroes was not made by either of them, so just by having these guys involved in the production, it's going to make the crossover feel completely different, and even better than PlayStation Moves. Now let's imagine this crossover being an actual thing. Who would be the villain? I'd imagine a villain from another universe, looking for specific things. Things which will help him gain power. There's weaponry, there's magic, and there's skills. This brings me to the 3 elements of gameplay. Summarized, it's pretty simple. Power, magic, and speed. Power being Ratchet, magic being Jak, the whole thing with dark eco, light eco, and as for speed, well, Sly isn't Sonic, alright, but he's all about stealth. After all the moves he's learned from his ancestors, he can be very quiet and quick, so I would put Sly in the speed category. Okay, what's the point with power, magic, and speed? What's it gonna do? Well, it's just a way of showing how these 3 characters have this nice balance going on. Something which I would love to be explored individually and together in this crossover. So with that out of the way, the villain, whoever he is, he's looking for weapons, for example. Maybe he's interested with the Dimensionator, he could be interested in Dark Eco, maybe even face the Precursors, be an actual threat to them, probably one of the biggest, and there's the Thievius Raccoonus. Okay, what's a book going to do? I'd imagine this villain having very dark powers. He could have the power to conjure beings from that book, turn them into enemies. What would you think of that? I just want to see this very powerful villain, which in order to defeat him, we need to combine all 3 elements together. Power being Ratchet, magic being Jak, and speed being Sly. Now these might not accurately represent them, especially Sly, but it's just a way of separating the nature of these characters. Since this bad guy is powerful, he's capable of traveling from one universe to the other. Would he attack all 3 dimensions, or just one in particular? I think he could stir trouble in all 3 dimensions. Once the finale arrives, we have these 3 characters working together in this one location. Now will he do this on his own? Nope. I imagine him recruiting villains and marking them with a sigil, a bracelet, whatever. It could be a symbol that's going to give him the ability to locate them and keep an eye on them, just to make sure that they're obeying his rules. Why would they work for this guy? Because he probably made fake promises to give them power. If you work for me, I'll grant you power and do whatever you want. Something like that, for example. A very good example of this are the following 2 characters. So what happens is, this villain visits Jak's dimension because he's interested with Dark Eco. Once he's staring at that Dark Eco, he feels something. Knowing how powerful he is, he can sense a lot. He feels Gol and Maia. Remember what Samo said in Jak 1, Gol and Maia were probably destroyed by the Dark Eco. But hey, whichever team decides to bring back Jak and Daxter, maybe they might decide to bring Gol and Maia in a standalone Jak and Daxter game. This is just an idea at the end of the day. Now, let's say Gol and Maia were brought back by this evil guy. Since they were brought brought back to life, he tells them to work for him, or else. This is where we see some character development between these two siblings. I'd imagine a part in the game where either the sister or brother fail at their mission. The villain gets outraged. What he does is he kills him, or her. The one who dies, the sibling is going to cry, is going to be sad about it. They could show a side of a villain we haven't seen before. In 2 words, character development. As for Ratchet and Clank, let's say Sony Games doesn't decide to explore the Lombaxes yet. This villain could use their dimension as bait, upset Ratchet, make him fall for his trap, something like that. I could imagine Tachyon being brought back, if of course Insomniac Games decide not to work with that storyline anymore. As for Sly Cooper, there's plenty of villains this guy can recruit. He can easily break them out of jail, no problem. What's this villain's main goal? Power. He wants to take over worlds. That's it, he's just corrupted, and that's his nature. How will Jak, Sly, and Ratchet meet each other? I would imagine one of them following the villain through a portal. They would end up in, let's say, Sly or Jak's dimension. The same thing happens afterwards, and at a point they all meet each other. All I want for the future of these 3 series is this big connection. I want their games, once they get released individually, to have a bunch of references. No, I'm not talking about simple Easter eggs. I want to hear the character actually say their names. I wonder what this Jak dude is up to. I'd imagine Ratchet saying that in one of his future games. Or Sly being like, hey, what's Ratchet up to? Stuff like that. In other words, I want this game to be canon. What kind of gameplay are we looking at? All 3. Combine all of them. I'd imagine all 3 characters playable once they all meet each other, and we can easily switch between them. But before that, I'd imagine playing the game with the characters individually in their own dimension. Imagine Sly walking on ropes, cables in Ratchet's world. Stealth in Ratchet's dimension, that would be super sweet. Ratchet would do his usual stuff, and Jak could also perhaps use his weapons, and Dark Eco, Light Eco, it could be whatever. But the most important thing is, don't change the nature of these characters. Just because it's a crossover doesn't mean you have to give Sly Cooper a whip. What about perks? Since we're talking about different worlds, I'm thinking that perhaps the brains work together. Clank and Bentley, for example. They could come up with some sort of device system which would upgrade weapons, armor, or anything. Okay, Ratchet can wear an armor, alright, we're used to that. Jak can wear an armor as well, but what about Sly? He's not the weapons type of guy, but I'd imagine Bentley and Clank coming up with something for Sly. Anyways, all I want to say right now is, to me, this sounds like a game or a potential series which will sell, definitely. What kind of visuals are we talking about? All CG, including Sly Cooper. I would love to see Sly Cooper in CGI. Imagine this bad guy gets introduced in one of these 3 games first. We'll later realize that he's an even bigger threat. The power to take over worlds and cause chaos everywhere. Imagine that. If Sony is looking for something innovative, I think this sounds like an excellent idea. A crossover with these 3 characters. We're looking at 3 communities combined. With the right amount of promoting, this is going to be huge. And if Insomniac Games, for example, Sanzaru and Ready at Dawn are all working on it, it'd be insane. So guys, tell me what you think of this idea in the comment section below. Do you think it's too crazy? Do you think it's stupid? Do you think it's awesome? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I've been Vivi, and thank you so much for the support. Thanks for watching, and until next time.